This is part 2, and I'm still with Patsy McArthur. Patsy, you do quite a lot of swimming. You enjoy being in water, don't you?
I do. I mean, I am a Piscean, so I don't know if that's got something to do with it. But I have always enjoyed being in water.
You're a water baby.
I'm a water baby. And I also have, a few years ago, I got an MP3 player that was waterproof, and I had it in my ears when I went swimming, and I really, really enjoyed that sort of sensation of being under the water and being able to listen to music, which is a passion.
Yeah.
So yes, I
So
do.
water inspired you?
Water, I mean, I guess so. I've always been interested in movement. I love the freedom and grace and that comes through moving through air, and what I saw in the guys that were doing parkour. And moving through water kind of seems to me like a slow version of moving through air in many ways. There's more resistance, but it's the same kind of floating vibe, almost, a better way because it's slower and you're
weightlessness.
more aware. And yeah, exactly, the same kind of weightlessness and suspension that comes from moving through air. So it's a kind of parallel universe for me. So it made sense that is a direction that my work would go in.
And so we're going to look at...
So I included this drawing just simply because it's a kind of nice transitional drawing of a figure. It was the same model that I used, and just a kind of movement of her jumping into the water. So that was.
So now you're moving from men to women.
Exactly.
Yes.
And this is another quite a large charcoal drawing. I think it's important to.
They're very large.
Say that the charcoal drawings, people are a bit baffled by them. They're incredibly detailed. I actually make the light purely from rubbing the charcoal off the paper. So I don't add white. It's actually it's called a reductive drawing. Uh-huh. So I remove it with a rubber, which is quite a lovely process. You sort of actively use the rubber to reveal the light.
Do you want to move it on? Maybe a bit of colour?
That's another one, just different perspectives from above. And
oh, that's very nice.
This is just an ink study. It's actually quite small. Yes. These are the kind of studies that I make before I make an oil painting.
Right.
So I'm just kind of looking at the different tones. Again, that's an ink study, quite quick. Before I make an oil. That's a large oil on canvas.
Most unusual.
So they have a kind of really what I'm looking for with the oils is to try and get a kind of luminosity. They're much more about colour than the other work. They're kind of less about the content and more about colour.
Oh, wonderful blue.
That's a huge painting. In fact, I have an image of it here in the catalogue for that exhibition, which you can see the kind of scale of it there. And actually, it might be worth saying something about...
Yes, let me see the cover. Show me the cover. Yes, this was an exhibition in London.
In London, yeah, about a year and a half ago.
Yes. And you've sold everything?
I think most of these are sold, yeah. I actually went to Australia in order to take the research photos for this exhibition. So one of the things I was doing was getting my models to wear clothes underwater because that interests me. It kind of brings a different feel to the work, and you're kind of asking more questions in more of a narrative way, not just, girls in bikinis, but, what's that girl doing in a red dress in a green pool, and just to get some more interesting kind of
she's
colourways.
She's actually wearing a dress.
She actually is, yeah.
Wow.
So I get in the pool or the sea with the model with a snorkel mask and camera. And will generally film. I prefer using film to stills because I'm more interested in the movement. I don't want to capture. I want to kind of capture the fluidity of it. And again, that's what I did with this major big piece. So these two figures, might be better to see on here, are both fully clothed. It's actually a brother and sister that I used as models. And I really like it. It's a really beautiful
Did you say this
painting.
was in Australia?
yeah, so I went to Australia to get all the research work for this because it was in winter. So it's a kind of perk of the job. I can go to tropical climes when it's cold and I can't get underwater in the UK.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's another one I thought it was a particularly successful kind of colour-wise, that painting,
And all these have been sold, you said?
Yeah, it was very, very popular, that painting, particularly I think just something to do with the gesture of the hand kind of pulling it in.
Yeah. And you did these paintings in Brighton in your studio?
I did. Once I came back from Australia, I made the paintings in Brighton, yeah.
Wonderful. You're a very hard worker, I can see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So... And she's wearing a dress?
She's wearing a dress. I think she's gone to Holland, actually. That was where she ended up. And then moving on.
Now you've moved on to horses.
I have.
Yes. Why was that? You said that you did riding.
Yeah, I mean, I think that sometimes, when you are a full-time artist, I think one of the great difficulties is motivation and reinventing yourself, because it can sometimes feel that, especially when you've had some commercial success with a particular genre, that you're kind of stuck in it. And you're really just kind of producing work. So
show me more
I think
horses.
I kind of wanted to do something completely different, but also that tied in with my my interest in movement. There's a really big drawing, probably about 170 centimetres across. So it's big drawing.
Very strange, because Muybridge, who originally studied the horses in movement, galloping and trotting, was in fact Scottish.
Yes.
Beautiful. I know about him from my early work myself.
Yeah, he had a kind of interest in movement, same as me.
Absolutely.
We had a lot in common, actually, aesthetically.
Interesting.
So, I used to ride, so I've got a history with horses. And it's a kind of strange subject, because obviously there's a real history of equine art, which wasn't really something that I wanted to get into. I wanted to be making very contemporary pieces that kind of spoke to people on a kind of human level, as well as, a horsey level, if that makes sense. And I think that some of these drawings almost do seem human.
Are these with charcoal again?
Yes. They're just charcoal and conte on a kind of 300-gram Fabriano paper. Again, they're pretty big.
Right, you haven't done any horses in colour?
No, and I don't think I will.
No?
It's not something that I want to get into.
Really? Why?
No.
Why is that?
I think that sometimes...
I mean, horses are brown.
I think that... Well, they're all sorts of different colours.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, there's a skewbald, which is actually, from a graphic point of view, very interesting, because they have these patches of different... they have white patches and black patches, or white patches and brown patches, and graphically they're very interesting.
Okay.
But what I'm interested in with horses really is a kind of emotional feeling. It's not that they're horsey pictures, that they kind of speak for humans as well. And the most interesting, it's quite a new thing for me. I've only been doing them for about a year.
But you actually study the horse. You're not just looking at pictures of horses.
No, I mean, you
video the horses.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I go to, stables. I sort of make contact
in England.
With, yep. And my sister is super horsey. So they have a yard up in Scotland, so I can go there and take film and work with any number of horses.
Oh, wow.
But really what's interesting me with them is when they are kind of making a mistake over a fence, or...
Yes, stumbling.
There's a stumble, and there's a kind of... But they're very keen to get over it, and there's a kind of striving, which I think is a really human kind of thing, and it comes through in the drawing.
Right. Well, it's been lovely talking to you, Patsy.
And you.
Look forward to the next phase of your artwork. Who knows what you'll be doing next?
Who knows?
Who knows? And you're getting married soon as well. That'll be another phase.
That will be another phase.
Okay, thank you, Patsy.